very engaging personality, a very unique sense of humor.
The key is how she's combined her professionalism with how personable she is and how she can relate to the audience and to the rest of us on set.
Somebody with a laid-back mentality and somebody who's willing to go with the flow to kind of mesh in easy with us, and she's definitely that.
She's professional. When the light goes on, though, you know, she's all business.
Diana Henry, part of your hometown team. You're watching WXOW 19 Lacrosse. Now, from your hometown team, this is the News 19 10 p.m. report.
The Packers make their case as one of the favorites to reach the Super Bowl this year with a win before a national audience on Monday Night Football. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Diana Henry.
And I'm Scott Hackworth. A lot of smiles out there, I'm sure. The Packer defense comes up big tonight, forcing turnovers, returning an interception for a touchdown in a rout. I guess you can call it a rout of the Miami Dolphins.
Jim Distry joins us now with the Monday Night Football turning point.
Hi, Scott and Diana. After 2 weeks of speculation and analysis over Brett Favre's playing status, Favre plays. But it was Ahman Green carrying the green and gold. Scoreless game in the second quarter. The turning point comes off the hands of former Viking Chris Carter. Ray Lucas hits Carter over the middle. He fumbles the ball. Todd McBride recovers for Green Bay. Packers take over 1st and 10. Ensuing possession, Green into the end zone from the 1-yard line. One of his 2 touchdowns. 7-0 Packers, and Green Bay holds on for a 24-10 win over Miami on Monday night. Scott and Diana, much more coming up later in sports, including complete highlights and post-game reaction from Green Bay. For now, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jim. Packer fans across the state were glued to their TV sets, crossing their fingers that Brett Favre would not re-injure himself.
At Glory Days Sports Pub in downtown La Crosse, fans we talked with all agree the Packers made the right decision in letting the quarterback start the game.
He can't ruin his streak of games starting. And, you know, if he's ready to play, I think he should play.
I think it's the right decision. I mean, you've seen in the past that Brett's he's played hurt before, and he's still come through. I know in the playoffs a few years ago against Atlanta, and you need him out there.
I think it's okay that he starts, but I feel that he should go out if there's any chance that he injures himself so that he can't play later on.
More on the Packers win later in sports.
We do want to apologize for the technical problems we had that prevented us from bringing you the Packers Monday night pregame show that was supposed to run from 7 o'clock until 8 o'clock. There were some satellite problems. We could not get the signal into the station. We know a lot of you were planning to watch that, and we apologize for that.
Yeah, it was kind of an inconvenience for everyone, wasn't it?
Yes, and the phones rang constantly. People were just wondering what's going on. I think a lot of the worry was that this was going to affect the game somehow, that the signal of the game was going to be interrupted. That was not the case.
Was not the case. We're going to talk to Dan now to find out what's ahead for our forecast overnight. Hi, Dan.
Well, hi, Diana. Actually, first I'm going to talk about Winter Weather Awareness Week. That is this week here in Wisconsin and Minnesota and Iowa as well. Very fitting as we're getting into, of course, the cold season more and more. And in fact, we do have a little bit of rain and snow to talk about a little bit later on. But nothing major at this time, though I do want to tell you a little bit about some of the terms we use for winter storm conditions. We have a watch, which means heavy snow. As you can see there, 6 inches in 12 hours expected, 8 inches in 24 hours. That can be issued up to 48 hours in advance. Now, it becomes a warning as those conditions are imminent or will be shortly occurring. And a winter weather advisory is also a term we use very much, generally for lighter amounts of snow, 3 to 6 inches worth. Of course, blowing and drifting and some freezing drizzle too can be involved in that as well. No watches, warnings, or advisories, but there is a possibility of rain or snow a little bit later on. I'll have those details coming up in just a bit. Diana?
We'll see you then, Dan. Thank you. If you fly in and out of the La Crosse Municipal Airport, you notice a change in security probably, and it doesn't have to do with security equipment or the screening process. The change is in the airport security staff. They're now all federal employees. News 19's Brock Berge is live in our newsroom tonight to explain the switch. Brock?
Diana, it's a switch airports across the country are going through. The idea is to have a national security system in place so passengers only have to get used to one type of check-in process, no matter which airport they choose to fly out of. The question is, though, what does this change mean for you?
It should be mostly a seamless transition.
is that.
The federal security director at the La Crosse airport says for the most part, the only change airline passengers will notice is the color of shirt security officers are now wearing. This was the first day on the job for the federal workers in La Crosse.
We're trying to provide the safest possible way. At the same time, we're also trying to extend the warm hat and courtesy to let everybody know that not that much is going to change, but at the same time, security is going to become our #1 priority.
Well, you can put it right on here.
The security check you go through in La Crosse is now the same one passengers go through in the Twin Cities, Milwaukee, and at other airports around the country.
It's definitely going to be beneficial. It's going to standardize from one airport to the other across the country so that people coming in here, if they've flown through Boston or New York, whatever, it's all the same procedure.
Another reason for the switch is to make sure all airport security officers have the same level of training, a decision the federal government made after the events of September 11th. And to most passengers, it's a welcomed change.
I think it should be universal, and the more training, the better, and the more screening, the better. The more, the few minutes it takes is not a big problem.
However, not everyone is so sold on this new system. One passenger I talked with today who actually flew in from Milwaukee says he noticed a difference at the two airports and he questions the need for the change. But the director of the federal security system at the La Crosse airport reminds people that this is a transitional period. Diana?
So, Brock, are a lot of airports already have the federal employees in place?
Well, it's interesting, Diana. Of the 429 airports in the country, 390 of them already have the new employees, so La Crosse is one of the last to get them. All airports in the country must have federal employees in place by November the 19th. Back to you.
All right, Brock Burgee reporting live for us tonight. Thank you.
Political news now. Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura has never particularly cared for the two major political parties or for the Minnesota media. Today, he tweaked all three by naming a member of the Independent Party to temporarily replace Paul Wellstone until a new senator is elected.
Three very powerful institutions, the Republican Party, the Democratic Farmer-Labor Party, and the Minnesota media, are conspiring to limit the hard-earned rights of ordinary citizens to rise up and compete for elected office.
Now, Ventura has chosen Dean Barkley to temporarily hold the Senate seat. There is some confusion as to how long he'll hold that position, though. Some believe Minnesota law says Barkley would serve only until the results of tomorrow's election are certified, probably mid-November. Others, however, believe that Barkley would serve until a new senator is actually sworn in. That wouldn't happen until mid-January. Barkley would only have the chance to vote on an issue if he stays in office until January. If that happens, he said he's not sure if he would vote with the Republicans or the Democrats.
Voters in Minnesota had their first and only chance to hear the Senate candidates debate the issues today. Republican Norm Coleman and Democrat Walter Mondale clashed often in this exchange. They debated the influence of special interests in their campaigns.
Special interest. I think it would be fair to say that in your experience over the last 8 years, that's been your universe.
You're troubled about the fact that I've served on corporate boards. That's really charming to hear a Republican worry about a Democrat who knows something about business.
But what the trouble is, on the one hand, and you should be proud of that. But you can't be talking about special interest. You can't be playing the class warfare card when you're there with United Healthcare, the largest HMO in the state. Great companies. You should applaud that.
You worry about my membership on Northwest Airlines Board. It's the largest employer in Minnesota. It has added jobs, including Duluth, including Chisholm, since I've been there. And that is true of the other corporations. I don't apologize for that, and I don't believe you're really worried about it. I think you're just trying to make an issue.
Well, of course, that race is one of the most watched in the country, and there's a lot of talk that it's going to be so close that we're not going to actually know who won, maybe until Wednesday sometime.
Yeah, all eyes will be on Minnesota and the Midwest for a lot of tight races, even across the nation.
That's right. Okay, changing gears now. More than 700 musicians played their hearts out tonight at the La Crosse Center.
That was tonight's grand finale of This Is My Country. Band students from the La Crosse School District came together for the band extravaganza. It only happens every other year, so it's truly a special night for teachers, students, toe-tapping music by the parents. Each grade combined from each middle and high school to put on a performance. Then all the students joined together to round out the night of music.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Did you play an instrument growing up?
I sang in the choir.
You sang. Okay.
And I'm not going to sing for you tonight.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to ask you.
Oh, good.
I wish that I could play an instrument, but I had trouble sticking with it because it's very difficult to be very good at it.
A lot of dedication those students have to have.
All right. Well, still ahead tonight. Is your home ready for the cold winter months? This is Winter Weather Awareness Month, and we'll have some suggestions.
And later, how accurate is the pumpkin poll? A chance for voters to have some fun and maybe take out some frustration at the same time. The story after sports.
You're watching Scott Hackworth and Diana Henry on the News 19 10 p.m. report.
To be a part of the community means being there in times of need for that community. Schumacher Kish has been there for the community for over 50 years. Schumacher Kish has also been there for the family with compassionate, caring service. A family-owned business that has kept pace with the changing needs, providing for all faiths with traditional and cremation services. Schumacher Kish Funeral Home with 3 locations, there to serve your needs when you need them the most.
Dead meat. The best. Come on, Sergeant.
If they're into movies, go to the one place that has it all. There's something fun for everyone at Best Buy.
Voters will decide close races in Wisconsin and Minnesota on Tuesday, November 5th.
Watch News 19 Election Night for live updates, interviews, and complete election results.
Depend on the experience of your hometown team.
Winter in Wisconsin is not only hard on your body and car, but also on your home. Freezing temperatures, snow, and wind cause millions of dollars in weather-related damage to Wisconsin's homes every year.
But as Amy DuPont's News 19's Amy DuPont explains, spending a little effort before the big freeze can save you a lot of money, maybe even your life.
When it comes to your home, water is your enemy.
Water freezes anytime you have pipes exposed to the outside or directly inside the house where there's not enough insulation between the outside and the inside. A pipe can freeze and burst, and obviously there's a lot of damage potential there.
Keeping water out of your house starts outside. First, clean out your gutters. This will allow melting snow to flow out and stop ice dams from building and pushing water back into your home.
And don't forget about your outside faucet. Make sure you disconnect the hose, because if you don't, it can cause a lot of water damage inside your house.
If you don't do that, the pipe will freeze, split, break, and the next spring you're going to have a real mess.
Inside, insulation is key. Make sure there is at least an inch of insulation along outside walls and around water pipes. This will prevent the pipes from freezing.
The water pipe will break, and when that breaks, you flood your basement, and if you have any finished basement, it can be a real mess. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars worth of damages.
When you're insulating your pipes, it's also a good time to check your furnace. The filter should be replaced every 30 to 60 days. It costs less than $1 and will prevent your furnace from overheating and burning out. Lastly, something that won't necessarily save you money, but could save your life. Clean your fireplace before you light it up for the first time, and check the batteries in your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. Most of these tips won't cost you any more than a little elbow grease. It's fall cleaning like this that can prevent a winter disaster. In Onalaska, Amy DuPont, News 19.
Now here's something else to think about. Not all homeowners' insurance policies cover weather-related water damage. So make sure you check with your agent to see if you're covered.
All right, well, I don't think we're going to get any snow or harsh weather in the next few days, but then I'm not the expert.
I think something like a mixture was being talked about earlier. We're going to find out. Dan is in next with the forecast.
Shannon was out jogging. She was attacked and murdered on the roadside in Kaukauna.
Vince Biskupik put Shanna Van Dijnhoven's killer behind bars, one of more than 10,000 cases he has prosecuted.
He had a tremendous amount of compassion for us. His prosecution was flawless.
Vince Biskupik, a prosecutor, not a politician, for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Vince Biskupik wants to leave the world a better place than he found it.
And the sixth number for 250.
Watch the official Wisconsin Lottery Super Cash drawing
Right after the News 19 10 p.m. report.
It's about honesty.
Scott said he was going to deal with the budget, but he was going to do so without raising your taxes. Scott stuck to his word. And Wisconsin's going to be better off for having a governor who sticks to his word.
It's about character.
Scott McCallum has the vision, he has the strength of character, and the experience to do what is right.
You've got a good one in Scott. Good, honest, decent, honorable man, and you need to send him back to the State House for 4 more years.
And now, from the News 19 forecast team, Chief Meteorologist Dan Breeden and the weather.
Good evening, everyone. An area of high pressure is drifting away from the region, but it left its legacy today. Even with sunshine, temperatures were well below the normals for this time of the year by about 10 degrees, as it turned out. These were some of the highs from around our Weather Watcher network. 38 degrees for the afternoon in Arcadia, 41 in Winona, 40 in Caledonia, only 37 for the afternoon high today in Retreat. These numbers are below normal, and we will expect that trend to continue for the remainder of this week. Add one more problem into the mix, and that is a wintry mix. In fact, it is snowing right now over portions of northwestern Iowa, turning to a mix across the central and east central portions of Iowa. From there, it gets warm enough to support some rain back to the south and west. All of this continues to advance northward. So far, at least according to ground reports, the clouds are not all that thick at this point, but overnight tonight they will be thickening up, and we will look for a possibility of some light snow to develop initially and probably then turn over to a mix and eventually over to a rain by about midday or even into the afternoon tomorrow. High pressure is in place right now, as I mentioned, drifting away, so southeasterly breezes are in place. And again, there's a little bit of warming there that we're going to tap into. It's going to be a very slow process, though. Once you have that rain and snow falling, it's very hard to warm the atmosphere up, and that will take several hours, of course, to happen. 31 degrees our current temperature in La Crosse, 27 in Eau Claire and Wausau. Now, the readings are going to steady out from here on out, so it looks like 30, we did reach that a little bit earlier this evening, will probably be the overnight low. These are expected low temperatures around the area. Again, not much change from the current readings. Now, during the afternoon, with all that cloudiness and occasional periods of that rain and snow mix, occasionally rain, we'll expect readings to only top out in the upper 30s. Any 40s and 50s and warmer conditions are reserved for folks to the south and west. Right now we have mostly cloudy skies. It's 31 degrees. The dew point is 24. Humidity at 75%. Our barometer steady. The winds from the east-southeast at 5. And the river stage at about 5.71. Our high today did reach for a time 40 degrees. The low has been this evening at 30. Our record high was 67 from 1978. The record low 4 degrees above zero. Not set that long ago, from 1991. For the next couple of days, of course, clouds will be with us certainly through the short term, but we do get into at least a partly cloudy situation. I think that'll take us into the rest of the work week with another trough of low pressure approaching then for the weekend. But the clouds are definitely thickening up, and those are going to be moving in. Here's News 19 Futurecast. We'll close in on the region and show you the progression of events overnight tonight. Again, the rains and snows developing. I think for the afternoon it'll be mostly rain. That quickly moves out. A second cool front does drop in, and that's going to reinforce the cool air at least for the middle part of the week. So here's the forecast from Microcast. You got the clouds again increasing overnight tonight. This indicates by 4 or 5 a.m. a little bit of that developing and then continuing on and off through the remainder of tomorrow. Here's the forecast for tonight. Increasing clouds, some light snow late with the low near 30 degrees. Tomorrow, cloudy and cold, rain and snow, probably changing over to all rain with a high temperature of 38. For tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with a low 32. And the extended forecast for Wednesday and Thursday, partly sunny with highs in the mid-40s. On Friday, mostly cloudy, the high 45. By Saturday, a few rain showers with a high of near 47 degrees. But it looks like we are in for a gradual warming trend, and even for Sunday and probably next week, I think things are going to be a little bit closer to normal.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Dan. Coming up next in sports, Wisconsin football reacts to a domestic dispute involving the team's leading rusher.
And the Packers have now won 6 straight. Jim Disrude has Monday Night Football highlights next.
I'm Rod Moen. I've fought for our country, and I've been honored by our National Guard.
My integrity has never been questioned until now.
But I'll leave the negative campaigning to my opponent.
I've worked for laws to help our senior citizens with the high cost of prescription drugs. I have fought to ensure the state keeps its commitment to fund our schools so they can be the best. That's my record. The choice is yours. Progress for Wisconsin or negative attacks.
On November 5th, re-elect Senator Rod Moen.
100% satisfaction is a Radisson Hotel.
It's a great place to be, La Crosse is, and I enjoy working with the Radisson Hotel.
It's really in probably one of the most beautiful areas in town right now. We do have a spectacular view of the river.
I really like it where it's right by the river. You have a great view. It's right downtown. Down by the river is perfect because it's the best view, really.
Nice view. I get that all the time.
Welcome to the Radisson La Crosse.
America's veterans. They fought to preserve and protect our freedom around the world. Their stories are an important part of our nation's history. That's why I introduced bipartisan legislation to preserve their stories, in their own words, at the Library of Congress, so that future generations will know firsthand all that America's veterans have done for us.
For more information about our veterans, contact the VFW of Wisconsin.
For $125,000. At age 14, who was the youngest performer to win a Grammy for Best New Artist?
I know this. I know this.
Stevie Wonder, LeAnn Rimes.
I think it's Stevie.
Michael Jackson.
Wait, no, Michael Jackson. The Jackson 5.
Marie Osmond.
Not Marie. Okay, here we go. Stevie Wonder.
Final answer?
So much money, so much excitement. Meredith Vieira hosts the new weekday version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Weeknights at 6:30. The News 19 10 p.m. report continues with Jim Disrood and sports.
The Green Bay Packers play Miami tonight, trying to tackle their 6th straight win. The last time the Packers won 6 straight regular season games, 1992. That year, Brett Favre had his first NFL start. Tonight, he goes for his 165th. Favre wearing a brace on his left knee. It causes some fatigue, but no major problems. First play of the game, Packers come out passing. Favre hits Bubba Franks to make the 165th official. Later, scoreless in the second quarter. 3rd and 18 for the Packers. Key play here, Favre to Ahman Green on a screen pass. First down, and that sets up this. Green from the 1-yard line, touchdown. Green Bay, 7-0 Packers. Now, final minute of the first half. Screen pass working again tonight. Ahman Green follows his blockers into the end zone. 14-0 Packers at halftime. Third quarter, after a Ryan Longwell chip shot field goal, 17-0 Packers. Dolphins moving. Ray Lucas drops. Nate Wayne intercepts. Packers take over 1st and 10. They later punt on that possession. Next possession for Miami. Lucas leading the Dolphins again. Darren Sharper steps in front of a Lucas pass. Sharper gone 89 yards into the end zone. 24-0 Packers. And Green Bay holds on. Brett Favre plays just over 3 quarters. Packers win on Monday night. Green Bay now 7-1, the best record in the NFC. Packers win 24-10. Brett Favre, 187 yards, 1 touchdown and a pick, 2 touchdowns for Ahman Green. After the game, Mike Sherman says it was hard to get Brett Favre out of the game tonight.
Yeah, you know, I talked to him at the halftime and told him that was not part of the plan, that he would try to outrun their fast defensive ends, and he's a little hard-headed sometimes. So I thought he was better in the second half than he was in the first half in regard to that. But you know, he's hard to convince that in his mind the play's not over till it's over, and as long as he has a hand on the ball, he thinks we can score a touchdown, which he's usually right on. But at the same time, self-preservation has to kick in, and he hasn't quite figured that part out yet.
Can you talk about the play of the defense tonight, Coach?
Well, the defense, I believe, has only allowed 1 touchdown in 2 ball games, and I thought they played an outstanding football game. They applied pressure on the quarterback. I thought we did a great job of stifling their running game. They have a great running attack, and I thought we held in there pretty good.
All right, that's Brett Favre, or rather Mike Sherman at the podium in Green Bay. If Brett Favre comes up later, we'll go back to that later in sports. But Now to Madison. Wisconsin head coach Barry Alvarez is still unsure if he'll have his leading rusher in uniform Saturday when the Badgers play the Illini at Camp Randall. Anthony Davis is out of the hospital after being stabbed in his left thigh early Sunday morning during a domestic dispute. The half-inch puncture wound nearly hit a major artery but will not require surgery to repair.
Much like many families, you have incidents and you deal with them and you move on. That's the only thing I know. We talk to our players, make sure that they know what's happening, what has happened, how we'll address it. And now let's move on to football and let's concentrate on football. And we're going at it with jumping in with both feet. This is an important football game for us.
Wisconsin needs one win in their final 3 games to become bowl game eligible. The Illini are 3-6 overall, 2-3 in the Big Ten. Round 3 of high school football pairings are all locked up. Holman will be on the road. The Vikings play at 3 o'clock on Saturday. West Salem plays Bloomer at 4 Saturday. Meanwhile, 3 o'clock kickoff for DeSoto at Eleva Strom. And it looks like we don't have Brett Favre at the podium right now. Maybe we can get him in later. But obviously a big win for the Packers. You know, they were up 24-3 at that point, and it looked like it was going to be a blowout, 24-10 final score. But you know, big win for the Packers. Now they have Detroit coming up and the Minnesota Vikings, 2 teams that are just really struggling this year. So, you know, the Packers are in a good position right now, obviously.
Yeah, they certainly are. Home field advantage in the playoffs now has got to be the goal.
We'll see.
We'll be right back.
Some people are asking why Rod Bowen would vote to send jobs to Mississippi and Tennessee. Well, Chuck Qualla was in charge of the Senate, and he was against helping Ashley Furniture and opening Stanley Prison. That Qualla fellow was just indicted. Qualla told a lobbyist to donate money to 2 senators if he wanted his bill to pass. One of those senators was Rod Moen. I wonder if Chuck Qualla told Moen to send our jobs out of state. I've got an idea. Why don't you give Rod Moen a call? You can ask him yourself.
At the Stansfield Game Room Store, Fats is ready. Everyone knows Stansfield's Game Room Store has the best pool tables, but now they carry a huge selection of bars, bar stools, and kitchen counter stools for your home. In fact, there's a showroom full of bars and stools at the Stansfield Game Room Store. At the Stansfield Game Room Store, you shoot, you score.
What's for dinner?
I can help you answer that question. Hello, I'm Carrie Kokens for the Taste of Home Minute. Along with delicious home-style recipes, we'll show you time-saving techniques and helpful hints that will make meals more fun for you and your family. From special tips for your holiday table to how to use up the leftovers, we'll show you ways to make every meal special. Join me for the Taste of Home Minute on News 19 Daybreak, weekday mornings with Chris Stauffer and Jerry Ann Ritter.
Shanna was out jogging. She was attacked and murdered on the roadside in Kaukauna.
Vince Biskupik put Shanna Van Dijnhoven's killer behind bars. One of more than 10,000 cases he has prosecuted.
He had a tremendous amount of compassion for us. His prosecution was flawless.
Vince Biskupik, a prosecutor, not a politician, for Wisconsin Attorney General.
Vince Biskupik built a better place than he found it.
Most people will go to the polls to vote tomorrow, but today area residents got a new and fun way to cast their vote.
It is the 3rd annual pumpkin drop. Even Ed Thompson stopped by to cast his vote. Radio station 95.7 teamed up with United Rental for some pre-election fun. Voters could bring their own pumpkin out to the United Rental store and launch it. If this event counted as a true election, Ed Thompson would be the next governor. Presumably, if whichever picture the pumpkin was dropped on, that's who the person wanted to vote for.
Right.
So anyway.
Unscientific by any means.
Yes, a very unscientific poll.
Tomorrow will be the scientific poll.
Yeah, well, and we'll be right back with a final check of the weather forecast next.
The campaign being waged against Jim Doyle is disgraceful and untrue. I know Jim Doyle. He's a man of great character. He cares about people, and he knows how to get things done. Wisconsin's teachers say Jim will fight for better schools. He's been a teacher. Wisconsin's police say nobody's been tougher on corruption and crime than Jim Doyle. And the press says Doyle has the experience, values, and strength we need. He'll put our state on the right track. Jim Doyle's got integrity. He's the one who can clean up the mess and make the changes Wisconsin needs.
A family of 3 generations serving 3 generations. That's Schmitty's. A spacious dining room, casual elegance, a place for family and friends. Enjoy the home-style favorites like roast loin of pork with garlic mashed potatoes or a delicious chef salad. New combinations of succulent roasted chicken with barbecue ribs or prime rib of beef with butterfly shrimp. There's the famous salad bar, Saturday and Sunday breakfast buffet, relaxed dining in the bar area. 3 generations, serving 3 generations. That's Schmitty's.
WXOW 19 invites you to attend the Seven Rivers Region Economic Summit, Tuesday, November 12th at the La Crosse Center. It's a program of the United Coulee Region Building on Success, Tools for Collaboration. To attend or for more information, call 785-8783.
You know, with every wall I build, I think about the families I'm building for and how important it is to give my best. That's why I choose United Building Centers. UBC's been helping people build homes for over 100 years. Homes that stand strong for generations. It's the helpful service, great value, and quality products that keep me coming back. When it's your home and my reputation on the line, I count on UBC.
UBC and you. The story is building.
In Wisconsin, we've always been known as good, hard-working people. But in the past few years, working hard to get ahead just doesn't seem to be working anymore. Jim Doyle has supported sound education programs, affordable health care, and an economy that allows all of us to prosper. These are the basic rights and freedoms that all of us in Wisconsin deserve. Tell Jim Doyle, thanks for supporting the building blocks for a strong economy, for all of us, for Wisconsin's future.
All right, some mixture of stuff to deal with tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not going to be a very pleasant day. I hope it doesn't affect voter turnout, though, and I don't really expect any driving problems, so that should not be the case. It's just going to be cold and of course, a little rainy with a little snow mixed in, too. Temperatures around 32 or 33 by morning with southeast winds at 5 to 10.
All right. Well, of course, after you vote tomorrow, join us at 6. Scott Emmerich is at Lambeau Field as we speak. He'll have much more tomorrow at 6 on the Packers' win over Miami.
All right, and voting results right here tomorrow night. We hope you'll be with us. Thanks for staying up late. We'll see you tomorrow.
When you see news happen, call the News 19 Newsline at